This is why you never fall in love with a bar girl. I hid in the toilet stall listening to them search for me. My heart hammered in my throat. I clutched the USB drive with the evidence. The plastic casing bit into my sweaty palm. Outside the thin plywood door, the heavy boots of Thai security guards stomped on the wet floor tiles. They were speaking low and fast. They sounded angry. The smell of the stall was a mixture of stale urine and cheap chemical cleaner. It made my eyes water. I held my breath. I stared at the graffiti scratched into the paint. I wondered if I was going to die here in this tourist trap maze. I wondered how 37 years of life had led me to a bathroom stall in the Pattaya floating market. It started 6 months ago. I was not looking for love. I was looking for a fight. I had just lost everything back in London. My cannabis farm investment had gone up in smoke, legal loopholes, bad partners. I lost my savings. I lost my flat. I came to Thailand with a backpack and a burning ball of rage in my chest. I wanted to drink until the lights went out. I was at a corner bar on Soi Buakhao. It was 3 in the morning. The air was thick with humidity and cigarette smoke. A German tourist bumped into my stool. He spilled my beer. He laughed. The rage took over. It always does. I didn't think. I smashed my empty glass against the counter. I drove my fist into his jaw. He went down hard. The bar erupted. Girls screamed. Stools flipped over. I felt good. For 1 second, I felt powerful again. Then the bouncers grabbed me. They were small, but they were strong. They dragged me out to the street. They were going to beat me until I could not walk. I saw the flashing lights of the police motorcycle. I knew what was coming. Thai jail, deportation, the end of the line. Then she appeared. Her name was Cherry. She did not scream like the other girls. She walked right into the middle of the chaos. She wore a simple white dress. She looked like a ghost in the neon light. She put a hand on the bouncer's chest. She spoke to them in Thai. Her voice was calm. It was soft, but it had steel in it. The bouncers stopped. They looked at her. They looked at me. They let me go. She turned to the police officer. She weighed deeply. She spoke to him for 5 minutes. She pointed at the German tourist who was groaning on the pavement. She pointed at me. She made me look like the victim. I do not know what she said. I just saw the officer nod. He got back on his bike and drove away. She took my hand. Her skin was cool. "Come with me," she said. "You are hurt." She took me to a pharmacy first. She bought iodine and bandages. Then she took me to her small room behind a massage shop. She sat me down on the bed. She cleaned the cut on my knuckles. She moved with precision. She told me she used to be a nurse assistant in a hospital in Buriram. She told me she knew how to fix broken things. I looked at her. She was 35. She had tired eyes but a beautiful smile. She did not ask for money. She did not ask for a drink. She just bandaged my hand and told me I was a foolish boy. I felt the anger drain out of me. For the first time in years, I felt safe. I thought she was my savior. I didn't know she was auditioning me. We spent every day together after that. I was still angry at the world, but she was my filter. When a taxi driver tried to rip me off, I clenched my fist. Cherry would place her hand on my arm. She would whisper, "Jai Yen, cool heart." She would handle the driver. She would handle the landlord. She became my voice. I stopped learning Thai. Why bother? Cherry did everything. I became deaf and mute. I relied on her completely. It felt like luxury. It was actually a cage. She told me about her life. She said she was tired of Pattaya. She said the music gave her headaches. She wanted to retire. She wanted to go back to Eason and farm rice. She wanted a simple life. Me too, I said. I'm done with the city. She opened a drawer and took out a folded piece of paper. It was a drawing. It was a house. A small bungalow on stilts, teak wood, a big porch. It sat in the middle of a green rice paddy. "This is my dream," she said. "I have the land. My father gave it to me before he died, but I do not have the money to build the foundation." I looked at the drawing. It looked like peace. It looked like the opposite of the London Stock Exchange. It looked like the opposite of the cannabis farm that ruined me. How much, I asked. She hesitated. She looked down at her hands. She acted shy. 2 million baht, she said, for everything. The wood, the concrete, the labor. I did the math in my head. It was 50,000 pounds. I had that left. Just barely. It was the last of my liquidity. If I spent it, I would have nothing. But I would have a home. I would have a nurse to take care of me. I would never have to fight a German tourist again. "Let us do it," I said. She cried. She hugged me tight. I felt her tears on my neck. I thought they were tears of joy. The next week was a blur of activity. We went to the gold shop. I bought her a heavy necklace as a promise. We went to the temple. We made merit. We poured water onto the ground to bless the ancestors. But there were signs, small things I ignored because I wanted to believe in the fairy tale. One night I woke up at 3 in the morning. Cherry was not in bed. She was on the balcony. She was on her phone. She was speaking fast. Her voice was different. It was not the soft nurse voice. It was hard. It was aggressive. I walked to the glass door. She saw me. She hung up immediately. She smiled. She told me it was just her sister. She said her sister was sick. Another time we were at a restaurant. A Thai man walked by our table. He was young. He had tattoos on his neck. He looked at Cherry. He winked. Cherry looked down at her soup. She turned pale. She told me he was just a drunk. She squeezed my hand so hard her knuckles turned white. Then there was the document. We were packing her bags to go to Isan. I picked up a folder from her dresser. It had a government stamp on it. It was a land deed. I saw a name on it. It was not her name. It was a man's name. Somchai. "Who is Somchai?" I asked. She froze. She was folding a t-shirt. She did not look up. "He is my uncle," she said. "He holds the land for me. It is traditional. Women cannot own land in my village." It sounded like a lie, but I looked at my bandaged hand. I remembered how she saved me from the police. I remembered the way she cleaned my blood. I wanted to trust her. I needed to trust her. If she was lying, then I was just a fool with a short temper and a dwindling bank account. I put the document back. "I'm sorry," I said. "I trust you." She walked over to me. She kissed me on the forehead. "You are my good man," she said. "We will leave tomorrow. We will go to the floating market first to meet the contractor. He is my cousin. He will give us a good price on the wood. Then we go to Isan. We go home." I nodded. I felt a knot in my stomach. I told myself it was excitement. I checked my phone. I logged into my banking app. I initiated the transfer, 1.5 million baht, sent to her account, the down payment for the materials. The screen said, "Transfer successful." I felt a wave of nausea. "Let us go out tonight," I said. "One last drink in Pattaya," she smiled. She put on her lipstick. She looked in the mirror. She looked like a predator checking its teeth. "No T-Rack," she said. "You rest. I must go buy some supplies for the trip. I will be back in 1 hour." She left. I sat on the bed. The room was quiet. Too quiet. I looked at her laptop sitting on the desk. She had left it open. She never left it open. I stood up. My legs felt heavy. I walked over to the desk. The screen was dim. I touched the trackpad. It woke up. It was open to a messaging app. The conversation was in English. It was with a man named Hans. I scrolled up. My heart began to hammer against my ribs. "The idiot sent the money." She wrote, "We can finish the roof on your house now." "Good girl," Hans replied. "Get rid of him soon. The buffalo is sick." I felt the blood rush to my face. The rage came back. It was not a ball of fire this time. It was cold. It was ice. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my USB drive. I didn't know what I was doing. I just acted. I plugged it in. I dragged the chat logs onto the drive. I dragged the photos of her and Hans. I dragged the bank statements she had saved in a folder marked retirement. I heard the key in the door lock. She was back early. I ripped the USB drive out. I shoved it into my pocket. I slammed the laptop shut. The door opened. Cherry walked in. She was carrying a plastic bag of mangoes. She stopped. She looked at me. She looked at the laptop. She looked back at me. Her eyes narrowed. The nurse was gone. The monster was there. "What are you doing?" she asked. Her voice was low. I clenched my fists. My short temper was screaming at me to hit her, to smash the room, to kill her. But I saw the way she stood. She was balanced. She was ready. And I saw the shadow of a man standing in the hallway behind her, the man with the neck tattoos. I pushed past her. I ran. I ran out of the room. I ran down the stairs. I hit the street, and I did not stop running until I flagged down a taxi. To the floating market, I shouted. It was the only place I could think of, the meeting place. the place where the contractor was supposed to be. I needed to find him. I needed to know if any of it was real, or maybe I just needed a place to hide where the water was murky and the paths were confusing. I didn't know I was running straight into the trap. Logic check. Weakness equals short temper, impatience. Trap equals fake construction contract. Fatal mistake equals paying cash to speed up the process. Planned ending equal waiting for her return in the loop. The taxi dropped us at the edge of the Pattaya floating market. The heat hit me like a physical blow. It was a wet, heavy heat that stuck my shirt to my back instantly. Cherry took my hand. Her palm was cool and dry. It always was. She was a nurse, she liked to remind me. She knew how to stay calm when the blood pressure rose, and my blood pressure was rising. We had to walk through the maze to find him. The market was a tourist trap built on stilts over murky brown water. Wooden planks creaked under my boots. The air smelled of diesel fumes from the long-tail boats and frying pork fat. It was disorienting. Every turn looked the same. Rows of shops selling elephant pants and carved soap. I hated it. I hated the crowds. I hated the way people bumped into me without apologizing. My temper was already fraying at the edges. I wanted to be back in the air-conditioned hotel, looking at my stock charts. But Cherry insisted. She said the contractor was a busy man. She said he was doing us a favor by meeting us here between jobs. He was going to build our dream house in Isan. The foundation was the first step, the concrete, the steel, the beginning of my legacy. We found him at a small coffee shop near the back of the market, away from the main crush of tourists. He was a small man with a thick gold chain and a smile that showed too many teeth. He did not look like a builder. He looked like a shark. He laid the plans out on the small wooden table. They were impressive. Blueprints, 3D renderings on a tablet. He spoke fast in Thai. Cherry translated. She told me he needed the deposit today, right now. She said the price of concrete was going up tomorrow. She said his crew was ready to dig the hole on Monday, but only if we paid the material cost up front. I looked at the numbers. They were high. Too high. I felt the anger spark in my chest. I slammed my hand on the table. I told him he was trying to rip me off. People at the next table turned to look. The contractor looked offended. He started to pack up his tablet. He made a show of leaving. Cherry grabbed my arm. She used her nurse voice, the voice she used when I was shouting at the hotel staff. She told me to breathe. She told me this was how business worked here. She said if we lost him, we would have to wait 6 months for another crew. I hated waiting. I had liquidated my entire portfolio for this. My cannabis stocks, my tech holdings, everything I had saved from the farm deal that went south. I wanted the house built. I wanted to prove to everyone back home that I had made it. Impatience won over logic. It always did. I pulled the envelope from my backpack. It was thick. 500,000 baht in gray 1,000 baht notes. I threw it on the table. The contractor stopped packing. He smiled that shark smile again. He did not give me a receipt. He shook my hand. His grip was limp. He said something to Cherry and she laughed, a sound like wind chimes. We left the market. I felt lighter, but also sick, a deep, gnawing nausea in my gut. Back at the hotel, the feeling got worse. Cherry said she needed a shower. She said the market made her feel dirty. She went into the bathroom and locked the door. I heard the water start. I sat on the edge of the bed. My phone was dead. I looked around for a charger and saw hers lying on the nightstand. It was unlocked. She never left it unlocked. I don't know why I picked it up. Maybe it was the way the contractor had looked at her. Maybe it was the laugh. My thumb hovered over the screen. I tapped the icon for the chat app. My heart hammered against my ribs. I scrolled. I saw the conversation with the contractor. It was at the top. I read the messages. The translation software on my brain struggled to catch up with the slang, but the photos were clear enough. There was a photo of me at the market, looking red-faced and angry. There was a photo of the envelope of cash. And then the text. The buffalo is sick. Medicine administered. Money received. Good work, darling. See you tonight. The room spun. The sound of the shower became a roar in my ears. Darling. She called him darling. The contractor was not a contractor. He was her lover. And I was the buffalo. The stupid, angry buffalo who paid for his own slaughter. I felt the rage take over. It was not a spark this time. It was a forest fire. I stood up. I wanted to kick the door down. I wanted to wrap my hands around her throat and squeeze until the lies stopped coming out. But then I saw the other messages, photos of my passport, photos of my bank statements, conversations with someone listed as police captain. They were planning something else, something final. I needed evidence. I needed to save this. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. I pulled a USB drive from my laptop bag. It was the drive I used for my investment backups. I plugged it into her phone using my adapter. I started transferring the chat logs, the photos, everything. The progress bar crawled, 20%, 40%. The shower stopped. I froze. The water cut off. I heard the glass door slide open. I heard her humming. 60%. Come on, move. I heard the towel snap. She was drying off. 80%. The doorknob turned. It was locked. I had locked it without thinking. She called my name, sweetly. Nolan? Why is the door locked? 99%. Complete. I yanked the drive out. I threw her phone onto the bed just as she used a coin or a key to pop the lock from the outside. She walked in wrapped in a white towel. Steam billowed out behind her. She looked at me. She looked at her phone on the bed, slightly askew from where she left it. She looked back at me. Her eyes changed. The warmth vanished. The nurse was gone. The predator was there. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She smiled. She told me I was a very bad boy. She picked up her phone and dialed 3 digits. She told me the police were already downstairs having coffee. She told them I was attacking her. She told them I was on drugs. She told them I had a weapon. I didn't think. I ran. I shoved past her. I grabbed my bag. I bolted out the door and down the hallway. I heard her screaming behind me now, putting on the show for the guests. Help me! He's killing me! I hit the stairwell. I skipped steps, jumping 3 at a time. My knees jarred with every impact. I burst out into the lobby, but I saw the uniforms. Brown uniforms, tight pants, guns on hips. They were blocking the exit. I turned and ran toward the service corridor, the kitchen, the back alleys. I found myself in the twisting alleyways behind the hotel, dead ends, garbage piles, dogs barking. I heard sirens. They were close. I ducked into a public restroom near the beach road. It was a concrete box, stinking of urine and bleach. I slammed the stall door and locked it. I stood on the toilet seat so my boots wouldn't show. This was it, the abyss. I hid in the toilet stall, listening to them search for me. My heart hammered in my throat. I clutched the USB drive with the evidence. It was small, cold metal in my sweaty palm. It was the only thing I had left. The cash was gone. 500,000 baht. My savings, my future, gone into a hole in the ground that would never be filled. I heard heavy boots on the tile floor outside. I heard a radio crackle. I heard a voice speaking Thai, harsh, commanding. Then I heard her voice. She was with them. He's in here, she said. Be careful. He's crazy. He thinks I stole his money. I squeezed my eyes shut. I gripped the USB drive until it cut into my skin. I wanted to burst out and fight. I wanted to smash them all. That was my nature. That was my weakness. But I knew if I fought now, I would die here, or worse. I would rot in a cell while she drove a new car paid for with my stocks. The stall door rattled. Someone kicked it. The wood splintered. I looked at the USB drive one last time. Evidence. Truth. It meant nothing if I was the villain in the story. And in this town, the man with the money writes the story, and I had just given all my money away. Logic check. Weakness equals short temper, escalates conflict to violence. Trap equals construction hole, the house that never existed. Fatal mistake equals assuming logic evidence, USB. Trumps local influence. Planned ending equals deported, broke, and obsessively waiting, frozen in time. The wood cracked before my resolve did. The door flew inward, not outward. I didn't wait for the second kick. My temper, usually my enemy, was now my only fuel. I drove my shoulder into the gap. I hit something soft and solid. A man grunted. I didn't look to see if it was a uniform or a leather jacket. I just ran. The floating market was a nightmare of geometry. Wooden walkways zigzagged over brown, stagnant water. It was designed to keep tourists spending, but now it was designed to keep me trapped. My boots thundered on the planks. I clutched the USB drive so hard the plastic edges cut into my palm. I heard shouting behind me in Thai. It sounded angry. It sounded official. I turned left, past a boat selling grilled squid. The smoke blinded me. I pushed through a group of Chinese tourists. They screamed. I didn't care. I needed to get to the parking lot. I needed to get to the car I'd bought for her. The car that was legally in her name. I reached the exit. The heat of the parking lot hit me like a physical blow. The Toyota was gone. Of course it was gone. She wasn't just a thief, she was efficient. I stood there, chest heaving, sweat stinging my eyes. The anger boiled over. I wasn't going to the police station. The police were the ones chasing me. I knew where she would be. She loved the sunset view from the curve on Homtien Beach. She liked to sit there and count her future while the sun died. I jumped on a motorbike taxi. I waved a 1,000-baht note in the driver's face. I told him to drive fast. I didn't care about the helmet. I didn't care about the traffic. I just wanted to see her face one last time before the curtain fell. We weaved through the gridlock. The wind dried the sweat on my face, but it couldn't cool the fire in my blood. I was a man who had built a foundation in the air. Now, I was coming to inspect the wreckage. The bike skidded to a halt near the shoreline. I saw her immediately. She sat on a concrete bench looking at the ocean. She looked small, innocent. She was wearing her white nurse uniform, the one she used to wear when she checked my blood pressure, back when I thought her care was genuine. She was eating sliced mango from a plastic bag. I walked toward her. My hands were fists. The USB drive was still there, a useless talisman of truth. Cherry looked up. She didn't flinch. She didn't run. She just chewed her mango and watched me approach. Her eyes were flat, like a shark's. I stopped 3 feet from her. I wanted to scream, but my voice came out as a broken rasp. I asked her about the house. I asked her about the pilings. I asked her about the roof I paid for. She swallowed the fruit. She wiped her mouth with a tissue. She looked around at the family sitting on mats nearby. Then she looked at me with pity. She spoke softly. She asked me if I had taken my medicine. The rage blinded me. I lunged. I didn't hit her. I stopped myself inches from her face, but that was enough. She screamed. It was a practiced, theatrical scream, a performance for the cheap seats. She fell backward off the bench, cowering, covering her head with her hands. People stood up. Men started shouting. The hero instinct kicked in. They saw a crazy foreign man attacking a helpless nurse. I pulled the USB drive out of my pocket. I held it up. I shouted that I had proof. I shouted about the bank transfers. I shouted about the lies. Nobody looked at the drive. They looked at my red face. They looked at my clenched fists. They looked at the terrified woman on the ground. Sirens wailed in the distance. They were coming for me. I reached into my other pocket. My fingers brushed the velvet box. The engagement ring. I had planned to give it to her when the house was finished. I pulled it out. The diamond caught the dying light of the sun. It looked like a piece of ice. Cherry peeked through her fingers. Her eyes locked onto the gold. For a second, the mask slipped. I saw the greed. I saw the calculation. She wanted that ring. She wanted to add it to her retirement fund. I laughed. It was a jagged, ugly sound. I turned to the ocean. The waves were black and oily. I reared back and threw the ring. I put my whole rotator cuff into it. It sailed through the air, a tiny glittering comet, and vanished into the dark water. Cherry let out a real gasp this time, a sound of genuine pain. Then the police were on me. I didn't fight them. I felt the cold steel of the handcuffs bite into my wrists. They shoved me face down into the sand. I tasted salt and dirt. Above me, I heard Cherry speaking to the officers. Her voice was trembling, perfect. She told them I was her patient. She told them I had dementia. She told them I had aggressive episodes. She told them she was sorry for the trouble. She was playing the role of the saint until the very end. The cell was cold. It smelled of bleach and old urine. I sat on the floor, my back against the concrete wall. I'd been there for 3 days, or maybe 4. Time moves differently when you have nothing left to count. The deportation order was processed. My visa was canceled. I was a persona non grata. The kingdom was ejecting me like a virus. I didn't have my phone. They had taken it. I didn't have my stock portfolio. I'd liquidated it for a pile of bricks that didn't exist in a province I couldn't pronounce. But I still had the memory of her face. Not the shark face on the beach, the other face. The one that smiled at me in the morning. The one that told me I was strong. The one that promised we would grow old together in the rice paddies. I knew it was a lie. I knew it was a script she had rehearsed with a dozen other men. The logic part of my brain, the investor part, knew the numbers didn't add up. But the heart is a stupid animal. It doesn't understand logic. It only understands hunger. I closed my eyes. I imagined the door opening. I imagined her walking in, telling the guards it was all a mistake, telling me she loved me, telling me she had retrieved the ring from the ocean. I knew she wasn't coming. But I sat there, in the dark, and I waited. I checked the door every time a shadow passed. I held my breath every time keys jingled in the hallway. I was broke. I was beaten. I was going home to a cold, gray country where I was a nobody. And yet part of me was still sitting on that bench, holding the ring, wishing I had put it on her finger instead of throwing it away. That is the true scam. They don't just take your money, they take your reality. They leave you stranded in a fantasy that never existed, waiting for a ghost to come back and haunt you. I stared at the steel door. I am still waiting.